You don't resist discipline, you resist becoming someone unfamiliar. You say you want growth, but you protect the version of you that doesn't have to prove anything yet. That tension isn't accidental, it's engineered by your ego, not arrogance, protection, and it's subtle. You research productivity systems, you optimize morning routines, you tweak your goals, you consume growth content daily, but your execution stays negotiable. You're active, but not exposed. You're informed, but not accountable. You say you're preparing, but preparation never seems to end. You consume discipline content daily, but your standards remain adjustable. And you've noticed that. That discomfort you label as timing, it's identity preservation. There's another layer. You don't fear failure, you fear evidence, because evidence collapses identity. Right now, your self-image is intact. You're capable, you're smart, you could do more. But once you set a non-negotiable standard and fail to meet it, that fantasy version fractures. So your ego intervenes, not loudly, quietly. It suggests one more video, one more planning session, one more week before starting. And it sounds reasonable. That's the trap. You think ego shows up as overconfidence. It rarely does. Most of the time, ego protects the current identity by preventing measurable exposure. That's the mechanism, the ego preservation loop. Here's how it works. You form a goal that threatens your current identity. Your brain detects risk, not physical risk, identity risk. Because if you try seriously and fall short, you must update your self-concept. And updating identity is psychologically expensive. So instead of stopping you completely, your ego offers a compromise. Stay interested, stay inspired, stay almost ready. Just don't measure yourself. Don't create standards that force clarity, and definitely don't create repetition that reveals truth. Because repetition removes fantasy. When something is repeated daily, you see exactly who you are. And most people would rather preserve potential than confront proof. If this continues, your identity calcifies. Not dramatically, gradually. You become the person who has high standards in theory, but no structural evidence. Years pass that way. The ego doesn't destroy ambition, it delays confrontation. That's why you feel friction when structure enters the room. Structure doesn't negotiate with mood. Structure doesn't care about your narrative. Structure measures, and measurement exposes. This isn't about being extreme. It's about becoming observable. Hard truth. You don't lack motivation. You lack standards that threaten your current identity. Standard over mood. That is the shift. Right now, mood dictates effort. Energy dictates consistency. Confidence dictates intensity. That's fragile. When identity is built on mood, it fluctuates. When identity is built on structure, it stabilizes. Most people chase intensity. A few build standards. Intensity feels powerful. Standards feel restrictive. But standards remove ego from the equation. Because standards don't ask how you feel, they ask what you do. There's a reason your mind resists fixed commitments. A fixed standard creates a fixed mirror, and mirrors don't flatter, they reveal. So the ego whispers, let's keep it flexible. Flexible means safe. Flexible means unproven. Flexible means identity remains untouched. But untouched identity does not evolve, it preserves. That preservation feels comfortable. It also feels stagnant. You feel it at night, that quiet recognition. You know you're capable of more. But capability without structure becomes self-deception. And self-deception protected long enough becomes identity. That's the real risk. not failure. Stagnation disguised as self-awareness. Let's name it clearly: the identity shield effect. When the ego protects the current self-image by avoiding measurable standards, it allows ambition but blocks exposure. It permits planning but avoids repetition. It encourages thinking but resists proof. You don't need more insight. You need identity tension. Ask yourself one question: what standard would exist if mood didn't matter? Not what goal, not what dream, what standard? Daily, non-negotiable, measurable. If that question creates discomfort, that's the point. Discomfort signals identity friction, and friction is evidence that growth is near, but only if you move toward it, not around it. Some people stay interested in improvement. A few redesign identity. The difference is simple. One protects who they are, the other risks becoming someone else. Your ego will not disappear. It will negotiate. It will rationalize. It will suggest delay. Your job is not to fight it emotionally. Your job is to build structure that makes ego irrelevant. When standards are fixed, identity follows behavior, not fantasy. And once behavior defines identity, resistance fades. Because repetition creates proof, and proof reshapes self-concept. That is how you outgrow yourself. Not through intensity, through structure. Not through motivation, through standards. Identity over intensity. Discipline first.